Our next presenter here, Joan Cheever. Joan is a tireless advocate for the poor and the hungry. She's a wife, a mother, a journalist, an attorney, and a chef. Ooh, I'm jealous of that. The Chow Train has served more than 100,000 gourmet meals to the homeless right here in San Antonio. And the newly homeless, and as the result of tornadoes and hurricanes, Joan provided them meals. In April of 2015, I'm sure many of you remember the story, San Antonio PD said her acts of kindness were against the law. We think we're in trouble now. We were in trouble then. She told the city that they were lawbreakers. She spoke up about it. We all heard about it. 14 weeks later, the ticket was dismissed. As it should have been. Ladies and gentlemen, Joan Cheever.
I need the box. And a lot more. Press it twice. Huh? Yeah, I don't want to.
Press the space bar twice.
No. Can I say something first? Okay. I'm really honored and grateful to be here to tell the story of the Chow Train. And I also want to say that, the Chow Train and what we do is not really unusual in this big-hearted city of San Antonio. There are thousands of Good Samaritans who do the exact same thing. And so tonight, I would like to dedicate this PKSA to the Good Samaritans of San Antonio and their thousands. Okay, the space bar. Ooh. Oh, and I want to say, Adam, this is a really hard act to follow. You did not do this in rehearsal, I just want to say. Okay. It all starts somewhere, right? The year is 1963, and these are my sisters. We are selling Girl Scout cookies, of course, to Mayor McAllister. I'm the one on the left. That's right, the far left. I'm 6 years old. I think I make that face every time I'm in the same room with a politician. Fast forward, 52 years later, I'm not happy. It's the night of April 7th, 2015, and the city of San Antonio has given me a ticket. Class C misdemeanor and a $2,000 fine. What was the crime? Serving hot meals to the hungry. The city said those acts of kindness were against the law. No, officer, I think you're breaking the law. I even showed him a copy of the First Amendment. And he said, lady, show that to a judge. I said, the Constitution? The city said I needed a special permit to serve food, even this food that came out of a commercial licensed kitchen. Then I said, well, let's talk about Domino's. Here's the question. Does any vehicle that deliver food in the city have a permit? And the answer is no. You know why? Because there is no such permit. It doesn't exist. The city made it up. They thought they could bully a Good Samaritan. That night, the city had no idea that they poked the bear, Mama Bear. An experienced journalist, a trained chef, and a licensed attorney. Here I am on Fox News Live in New York City just 10 days after the ticket. Looking back, I almost feel sorry for the city. No, I don't. Once the news of my ticket surfaced, the community of San Antonio reacted with outrage. Everyone was mad. Those on the right, the left, and the middle. This little group of farmers from Wilson Elementary decided to devote their harvest to the Chow Train. You would think that with all this bad publicity, that would be enough for the city to give up. But no, they kept the charges pending for 14 weeks. It was only after they saw a copy of a lawsuit that was headed to federal court the next morning that the ticket was dismissed, and that took only 45 minutes. I want to thank my lawyers from Aiken Gump in Dallas. You have no idea how grateful I am. The ticket was never about me. That was very clear. It was then and still is always about the invisible people of San Antonio, the ones without a voice. What is their crime? Homelessness, poverty, hunger, job loss, crazy medical bills that can never be repaid, alcohol and drug addiction, or both, lack of affordable housing, mental illness, domestic abuse. How do people slide into homelessness? There are many ways. Not everyone we serve is homeless. Some of our guests have jobs. They do have a place to sleep, but they have no food. They are the members of the working poor of San Antonio. Every Tuesday night when we roll up to 4 stops in San Antonio, the Chow Train asks our guests only one question: are y'all hungry? This is Billy, pictured here with my nieces and nephew. My daughter Daly is on the far left. You heard that right, far left. Billy grabs a trash bag and gets to work. He makes sure that all the trash is picked up from Maverick Park. That's Billy's way of giving back. When we leave, the park is spotless. Thank you, Billy. This is our friend Ed. He reads the Wall Street Journal every day. He's a big fan of Texas Public Radio and David Martin Davies. Every week, we bring Ed a copy of the New York Times magazine and the book review. He is one of the smartest men I've ever met. Ed lives behind a dumpster. This is Anne Marie. I found her under a pecan tree, dying of cancer. She was less than 20 yards from the 16th tee on a beautiful, well-kept municipal golf course, dying under a pecan tree next to the golf course. Anne-Marie didn't make it. These are our veterans: Crazy Horse, Whiskey Dave, and Sky. Whiskey Dave, a vet in a wheelchair, died under a tarp, alone. Sky was a Vietnam vet who was blind. He should have been buried in Fort Sam Houston, right? Sky ended up in a pauper's grave. There are those who are still with us, and we are so thankful. This is Gloria, little Gloria. She's probably 80 pounds, soaking wet. Standing 4 feet 9 inches, it's hard to figure out how old she is, because living on the street ages you quickly. Our friend Josie works part-time at Taco Bell. Josie loves dogs. In fact, she had 4. We started passing out dog food when we found out our guests were giving their dogs our food. Not good for either. Your friends are our friends, we told them. And then there's Jerry, tall, skinny Jerry. He pushes a grocery cart. Sometimes he talks to aliens, and he always talks to me. Let's have a cook-off, biscuits and gravy. You win, Jerry, I can't compete. Jerry laughs, and then he gets serious. Come on, Chef Joan. You got to have faith in yourself. You hear me? Don't be given up so easily. What a gift Jerry is. The Chow Train's motto is fighting hunger, one plate at a time. That's all we can do. Serve a great hot meal, a plate of love, treat people with dignity. We know we can't end homelessness, but we can be the faces of love to those in our community who have none. And one of those faces, very loving faces, is my husband, Dennis Quinn. He's my right-hand man, cool, calm, and collected. He is calm in the middle of the storm, and sometimes some people call that storm Hurricane Joan. And the volunteers, they greet everyone with a smile and a friendly face. It takes a village to feed a village. The Chow Train is not one person, it is all of us. Please remember these people, members of our community who live on the street, our friends who are hungry. My hope, our hope, is that perhaps after tonight, they will no longer be the invisible people of San Antonio. Thank you.
Wow. We have, sorry, it's amazing. I guess the question I can ask you, Joan, is What can we do? You know, how can we help? You see the problem with the San Antonio homeless getting worse for us, and where can we start to make change?
Well, I want to say that everybody can be on their own Chow Train. You can share your food. You can sign up for other nonprofits and the Chow Train. But the other thing you can do is the one thing that doesn't cost any money. You can give them a smile. You can recognize that they are people and they are deserving of dignity and a smile, and that's the most important thing.
Are there some stories, or at least a person or two that you've run into that is in the predicament that they're in, but having conversations with them, you find it really hard to believe that is their world, that they haven't found an opportunity, they haven't made their way? Are there a few people that are still ones that you run into on a daily basis that are in that situation?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's too many, and too many stories like that. Mental illness is a big issue on the street, and so is addiction. And I'm always hopeful when we don't see someone on the street for a while, because we think, well, they got a job or they found a place to sleep, and then they end up again on the street, and then they tell me what happened. So I'm always hopeful, and I think that's the most important thing, is to have hope and to give them hope, because it can turn around.
And then lastly, Joan, just the holidays are coming up. We know the cold weather's coming in. What can people do? Where can we log on to help you out specifically? Just give us some information for that.
Well, we have a website, and on Facebook, www.thechowtrain.org, and then Facebook. But what you can do is you can start collecting blankets or coats, and you all drive by the invisible people. I hope after tonight they're not invisible. And you know what? They're just like us. And so just pull over, and if you want to give a blanket or a jacket or a smile, go ahead and do that. That's the most important thing, just to let them know that they're no longer the invisible people of San Antonio.
Joan Cheever, thank you for the inspiration, Joan.